Sprint Car World's lucky enough to be joined by one of the Tasmanian gun drivers, Jamie Bricknell. Jamie, welcome to Sprint Car World.
Thanks for having me on here.
Now, down in Tasmania, a lot of people quite often forget about the racing scene down there. How's it been this season?
Yeah, we've had a few races down there. It's been pretty tough. Like, we've got good guys down there racing again. We've got Red Parts coming out every now and again and running, and Dawkins, and we've had a Bill Rose down there for a few weeks as well, and it's getting pretty tough every now and again.
So what's the car count been like, around the 18, 20 car mark?
We have about 16 a night, which is alright for down there. It's pretty good racing with them.
Now, you've, as I say, you've pretty well forgotten down there. People seem to forget that you've had the Australian title. You've had some couple of good runs, top 5, another one where you finished 6th. So Tasmanian racing obviously is in a pretty good condition. If you were able to race against the guys when you come to the mainland and finish in the top 5, it must be pretty strong down there.
Yeah, there's some good races down there, like Sean, he comes over all the time and goes well, and like I've had a couple of good runs at the Australian title, and I made the Classic last year, so I was pretty happy there, and so it proves there is a little bit of talent coming out of Tasmania, which is good to see.
When you do come across the mainland, you basically do stick around Mount Gambier, Warrnambool, come to Adelaide a couple of times. Do you have aspirations to sort of do World Series and travel around the country?
Yeah, I'd love to keep travelling all around Australia and do that, but it's a bit hard when we're all the way down there and have to fly everywhere, but it would be good to race every track around Australia, and then you get more knowledge, and that's when you start to go forward a bit more.
Now, you're about the sort of around the age of, we've seen James McFadden come through, we've seen, we've got some like Matt Eagle in South Australia, and Brad Keller. Are they the sort of drivers that you aspire to sort of rate your ability against?
Yeah, I would, but they get a little bit more racing, but yeah, they are the ones you try and stick with your pace and everything, so yeah, they're probably the ones you would look up to.
Now, this season, the car, completely different look, really nice looking race car, I must say. How did all that come about?
Well, we met David from Viola from V8 Nights, and he agreed to sponsor us, and it all came together. His colours were blue, so we went that way, and we got a different car, so we went completely different with the car and new truck, so we got a completely new layout team, and it seems to be going alright down home, so hopefully it can keep going ahead and we pull some good results out.
And the reason for the change in race car, the other one was just worn out?
We were trying things, just see if we can get a little bit different from what we were used to. A bit more pace.
Now, you talked about, we know about yourself, we know about Jason Dawkins, we know about, the sort of guys you spoke of that's come across here regularly. We know about Sean Dobson, I was trying to get out. Who else down in Tasmania who you consider to be an up-and-coming talent that people in the mainland may not know about?
Callum's Isaac, he's come along pretty good, and there's just a few like that are going well, but Callum's probably the most standout one down there at the moment.
So, and of course he's only a relatively young driver. I think we saw him maybe here at the Classic a couple of years ago. So he's a driver that you think that we should really keep an eye on?
Yeah, he's probably the one out of Tassie you'd keep your eye on. He's come over last year and had a run, and he's only getting better as more races he does.
Now, next year, big news for you is that the Australian title is coming back down to Tasmania, down at Latrobe again. In 2007 it was a great event. Well, what will we see down there next year? What can the fans expect?
Hopefully a fair few cars come down, there's some good racing, because Dad was racing in 2007, so hopefully I get a go, and hopefully we can get Tasmanian to win.
So, and speaking of Latrobe, how's that particular track held up this year? Has that track conditions been really good, racy down there?
Yeah, Latrobe's track holds up well. It gets a couple of lines to race on every now and again, so it's a pretty good track to race out, nice and big, which is different to all the tracks down there, so it should be a good track to watch Australian title at, really.
Now, each and every year, as I say, you come across here to the Classic. At the beginning of the season, do you actually always schedule in a budget to come to Warrnambool?
Yeah, this is the race you try and get to, because it's such a big race and it's such an awesome track to race at, so it's the one you want to go to and try and win.
Now, we're sitting up here in the VIP room. One of the first things you did was you walked around and had a look at the wall, the past Classic champions, and behind us we've got the trophies. If you had a choice to win the Australian title or the Grand National Sprint Car Classic, what would it be?
You'd definitely go for the Classic. There's just more cars, and you get the Americans to race against, which is a lot harder and more pristine event. So, yeah, I'd probably choose the Classic.
You mentioned that you come from weekly club shows where there's 16 cars. You roll in to here at Warrnambool, or you roll into Mount Gambier, you're 60 plus, or you're close to 100 here. Does that affect you as a driver mentally?
No, you just really have to get out there and drive. Like, we don't have time trials down home either, so that's probably the hardest thing to get used to, just going out there flat out for 2 laps. But you do get used to it. It's just you need more experience at doing it, so that's why you come over and practice.
And also, you don't get to race against these guys all that often. Does it surprise you when you come across the level and the intensity increases each and every year? From as I say, you only get to race them probably once or twice a year.
Yeah, you know they're going to be tough every year, so that's what you try and pace yourself on. You try and always pick up pace, but it is hard to get that level when you don't race against them all the time.
And going back quite a few years ago, we saw World Series go down to Tasmania. Do you think that that increased the level of competition for the Tasmanians at that time, having the World Series guys down there for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it proved you can race against them down there. Like, it's good to have them come down to your place and you learn to race and you can actually challenge them, which is good to see down there as well. Means you got some talent as well.
Yeah, I've only actually been down to Tasmania for that Australian title in 2007, so I haven't seen any of you guys race down there for quite a while. When other than Callum Zizak, could there be another driver that you could see causing an upset, or at least being in the top 5 or 10 cars down there in Tasmania, other than yourself and the guys you mentioned?
You just got all your front runners like Hutchins, and you got the Red Path, so they'll most likely be all the ones up there and all the other guys that normally come across the sea to race over here. So yeah, most likely just them bunch, which would be good.
Now, just going away, talking about the race fans a bit down there in Tasmania, since the announcement that the Australian title was going back there, have you seen an increase in the crowds, or have you had some positive comments?
Just the crowds down home this year have improved a bit, but not many people have said Australian title because they haven't announced the date yet. But I'm sure it'll bring the people in the gate when it does arrive.
Well, all the best for this weekend, and as I say, hopefully we'll be able to promote Tasmanian sprint car racing a little bit more for you out there. And once you get back to Tasmania, all the best, and you never know, you might just have a good run down there this time next year.
Thank you.